and let us all do we can to build a better future. Dan, I got a story for you.
What's up?
Nothing's going to fundamentally change for brunch. What is for brunch? Yeah. What is for brunch? What is for brunch? Yeah. What is for brunch? Well, what is for brunch is Amy Klobuchar, considered for Biden cabinet posts, including Attorney General and Agricultural Secretary. So great. The Klob is back. You know, dare to throw more staplers at people.
Well, she's not going to be in agriculture. Her name, part of her name is Char in it. Those don't work well together.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. You know, it goes to show you that a lot of the vote blue, no matter who people crowd, are completely narrow-minded, are completely focused on one path, and that was beating Trump. But, you know, I have a problem with Amy Klobuchar because it was under her watch that the officer that murdered George Floyd was able to basically continue on being a police officer. That's right. Before George Floyd was murdered, the cop that did it, well, he was in trouble for some other things, and Amy Klobuchar could have done the right thing, but how would your hair fare in a blizzard? Didn't do a damn thing. And then George Floyd died because of her incompetence and willingness to turn a blind eye to police corruption and police brutality. So, Senator Amy Klobuchar is being floated for a cabinet position post inside President-elect Joe Biden's administration, according to the people briefed on the matter. So, Klobuchar, according to these people, is being considered by Biden and his team for a member of positions, including Attorney General and Secretary of Agriculture. So, see, nothing's going to fundamentally change. Amy Klobuchar, who has a history of taking corporate donations, who has a history of being on the wrong side of history, especially when it comes down to progressive issues like Medicare for All, UBI, ending regime change wars. So Klobuchar is back. And remember, she's getting paid for her loyalty because she dropped out of the race because Obama made a phone call to her and Pete Buttigieg and all the other centrist Democrats to back up his old pal, good old Joe 30330. So, again, the Senate majority is up for grabs in 2 races in Georgia and have yet to be settled. So just remember, if the good old Klob is going to be part of Biden's administration, basically she'll be giving up her Senate seat. So who knows how that's going to turn out? Will there be a special election? Possibly. Will the Democrats try and rig it like they always do? The answer is yes. If Klobuchar was chosen to join Joe Biden's cabinet, Governor Tim Walz, a Democrat from Minnesota, would be responsible for appointing her replacement. She is up for re-election in 2024. So we will see what happens in the long run. And I understand there's a lot of concerns being brought up about the Biden administration, especially some recent reports that we saw in Real Clear Politics. And I want to add this into the story because I want to see how that's going to further develop, especially with what Real Clear Politics posted about Arizona and Pennsylvania not being counted. Again, just for an update too, Donald Trump recently, there's been an article from the BBC indicating that he is not going to concede. Again, there's going to be, as these stories do progress about how Biden's administration is going to turn out and what the true final results of this election will be, I mean, there's so much to add up. But focusing right back onto the story, it doesn't surprise me that nothing's going to fundamentally change. And what do I mean by this? Well, FaZe, can we play a video from Case Study QB? Because everyone, I just want to let you understand, I want all of you to understand just how horrible things will be and why nothing is going to change in a Democratic presidential administration, because at the end of the day, the political class and the top 1% won. Let's play this video for the people.
Chavez has that for us. Hi, Eamon.
Yeah, Wilfred, that's right. The Biden transition signifying here that it's going to press ahead despite the fact that the GSA has not officially approved a transition effort. They're now naming all of what they're calling their agency review teams. These are the people who will go into every federal agency once that transition officially begins and is authorized by the GSA. They have them for every bit of the federal bureaucracy. One name that might be familiar to folks in our audience is Gary Gensler. He's the head of the Federal Reserve and Regulatory Agency Review Team. He's the former chairman of the CFTC, a former Goldman Sachs executive, somebody who people may remember from the Obama administration era. A lot of names on this list that we're going through right now, but these are the folks that they used to call the transition landing teams. They don't call them that anymore because it's seen as a little bit too provocative, so now they're called agency review teams. And as soon as the GSA gives the official go-ahead, these folks will go in and get briefings from the current officials, and it gives you a sense of where the Biden transition is heading, and gives you a sense that they're pressing ahead despite the fact that the GSA has not officially authorized that just yet, Wilfred.
Is that sort of the theme, the flavor, Eamon, that it's just a lot of ex-Obama officials and sort of centrists? Everybody's looking at these names wondering how far left is he going to go when it comes to picking his administration?
Well, look, I mean, there's a lot of university officials here, some union officials here, some officials from left-wing organizations as well as former Obama people. So there's a mix here, and I'm sure that the centrists and the left-wing are going through and tallying up the names here and trying to figure out, who has the numerical advantage. I won't try to do that on live TV for you, but there are a mix of people from all aspects of the Democratic Party represented here, and a lot of people with experience inside these agencies that they're now being sent back to. One of the things that the Biden transition folks have been telling me over the past couple of days is they feel good about where they are because so many of them worked in the White House or worked in the administration or worked in the federal bureaucracy as recently as 4 years ago. So these are not people who necessarily need a tour of the building. These are people who need to know what's been happening for the past 4 years so they can get up to speed.
Well, interesting.
I just want to say I'm in complete disbelief. You're telling me that a democratic institution has connections with big banks that are funding them, helping pick their cabinets. Treasury, I think, might be specific. I don't believe it. That's not the America I grew up in.
Yeah.
I mean, besides all the times it was, besides those times, which is always, it hasn't ever happened.
Right.
I promise.
So, again, we've been saying this to a lot of vote blue no matter who people, even diehard MAGA voters. Did you really think anything was going to change no matter whether Team Red or Team Blue got into the White House? Nothing's going to fundamentally change. You don't have a seat at the table, diehard Republican voters, diehard Democratic voters. Do you want to know who sits at the table? Those who play by the rules of the top 1%. It's a top 1% like big bankers, corporations, Wall Street executives, lobby groups, and career politicians like Amy Klobuchar, Kamala Harris, or Pete Buttigieg, or Joe Biden that are able to sit at that table and make the decisions. They're able to be there and be part of that club. It's one big club. The working class people, you're not part of it. It doesn't matter how old you are, the color of your skin, who you vote for, who you worship. It doesn't matter because the top 1% control both parties and nothing's going to fundamentally change. In 2016, Goldman Sachs and all these other bankers were backing Hillary Clinton, but guess what? They had Trump in their back pocket too. And Trump put a lot of bankers and Wall Street executives and people connected to the top 1% in his presidential administration. And surprise, surprise, Joe Biden did the same thing. And even now, after the crisis of the George Floyd protests, Amy Klobuchar is going to have a seat at the table too, potentially. Nothing's going to get better if we keep on compromising, if we keep on holding our nose. That's why I voted third party. I can't hold my nose anymore. And I'm not going to be like one of these YouTube commentators who say like, well, we have to hold our nose. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. Well, then don't do it. And I know that third parties have a lot of problems right now, but we got to get better. And that means fundamentally us as people, as voters, as constituents, as average Americans stepping up and realizing that this system is sick. No matter whether it was going to be Trump or Biden, nothing's going to fundamentally change unless we do something about it. This is only the beginning. Be prepared to be disappointed. Daniel, what's the final word?
So, yeah, I was just going to say that's a very good point on just other people. If you're going to say, I really don't want to do it, but I did, you have to pick one. There's no or. You can't do both. Actions speak louder than words. Therefore, if you take an action that contradicts those words, the action is the only thing that remains. But to the bigger point of this story, Klobuchar got paid for her loyalty. That's that simple. What was it that she did? She dropped out when she was told to by Obama to power play Bernie Sanders to back Joe Biden. And like we said originally when that happened, we were saying, well, they're going to pick her for VP because they want the Midwest. They're going to pick Kamala for Supreme Court. And I remember it was so obvious. They were like, oh, we're not hiding anything. We're going to pick a woman of color for Supreme Court, and we're going to pick a woman if you guys saw the show a while back when that was happening, remember that's what we were making fun of because we knew exactly what they meant. They wanted Klobuchar for the Midwest, Kamala. Everyone that dropped out has gotten something and will continue to get something. I think Pete Buttigieg is even getting to be czar of sewers, I believe.
Oh yeah, well,
Yeah.
of course it's connection with the state.
Yeah,
and
no,
lobby group.
it's where he's most comfortable. But he's going to get something, and so right now we have a situation where Amy Klobuchar, who was kicked out of the VP position, as Kit already mentioned, because she allowed George Floyd to happen. So that was a big issue, and so that got
And she had the
reconfigured.
audacity to show up at his funeral. too.
Yeah, and
like I would be so angry.
I would try and kick her out, but she still is going to get paid for her service, and I think it'd be Attorney General would be most likely, and I think most ironic, because that if she gets picked for Attorney General, then what they have openly admitted is we just did all of that stuff because of PR. The only reason we flipped around and made Kamala VP, and by the way, if she ever becomes president, which could, she will have no votes. She will be completely appointed as a president. So, on the other hand, Goldman Sachs is also making this happen too. They pay for the loyalty that can be offered. So, in a nutshell, Amy Klobuchar is getting paid for her loyalty, paid by Goldman Sachs.
And it's a sick system. So here's what I think of this whole idea of nothing fundamentally changing why we got to hold our votes. Here's what I think of holding your vote, holding your nose and voting. Here's what I think about how the bankers are going to be sitting at the table. Here's what I think about the fact that you got these career politicians laughing in our faces. If we don't break this system up, they will keep on walking all over us. Now, I ripped apart a piece of paper, but everyone
Thanks,
else,
Nancy.
everyone else should be furious and angry. The bankers are back in. Career politicians are back in.
Well,
Holding your
they
nose.
never left, let's be real.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
They
Yeah,
continue
okay.
to stay.
But here's the thing. I got to ask this at the end of the day to the brunch crowd. Was it worth it holding your nose? Was it worth it just, trying to do the tried and true method of helping out the Democratic Party now that they're going to screw us over because the people gave them their vote, and now that we have given them our vote, they're not going to do a damn thing? They didn't do anything to earn it. People voted out of fear. That's it. Beware, because if nothing does change, we are going to get somebody worse than Trump. And I don't know when it's going to happen, but if it does happen, don't any of you take any crap from the Vote Blue no matter who crowd, because they're going to try and do everything they can to do mental gymnastics to defend Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Break the system.
And just very quickly, we know when that 2-week period when Bernie Sanders was poised to win before Obama pulled his little stunt, I asked all the blue, no matter who people I knew on Facebook, if they were going to vote for Bernie Sanders if he won the nomination. You know what all of them told me? Either maybe or no. That's blue no matter who for you. Hypocrites. Blue no matter who really just means vote my way and shut up. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less.